Hi there, I'm Java Jim with First Line Equipment, and today we have in front of us the Rancilio Invicta 3-group espresso machine, and we're going to give you a quick installation guide on how to set up this espresso machine. The first step before plugging it in is making sure you hook up the machine to the water line. Now, this water line may come connected to the inside of the machine, it may not. If it doesn't, and the reason I say that is because things sometimes change in Italy down the road. If it doesn't, this front panel will need to come off to get this hose inside. But under normal circumstances, it probably will be attached already and on the bottom of the machine. Why do I say plug in the water line first? Because as soon as you power on the machine, it's going to call for water. And if you don't have water being pumped or pushed through this water line, you will damage this espresso machine, or any espresso machine that is plumbable. Now, on this fitting, if you contact a plumber, they're not going to realize that the threading here is BSPP, which is a British metric thread pitch. And unfortunately, you can go one of two routes. You can buy the adapter by John Guest, which we sell on firstline.com, and that usually fits in and then goes to a plexi tube or flex tube that you can insert on the other end. We like John Guest because they are a higher quality than some of the other brands, but other brands may work for you if the John Guest is not available. When you thread this in, and if you go to a brass fitting, you may end up cross-threading. So if you don't have one of these that is made of polyethylene or some type of strong plastic, you will put Teflon tape around the male threads. Now this is 3/8 BSPP. You put Teflon tape and you will cross thread, and the brass will bend and basically attach. And oop, lost the fitting there. So whenever you're making the attachment and you're threading this in, okay, if you have the hose that's loose, this will leak. You need to continue threading or cross threading until this is tight. And then just 1/4 to 1/8 turn, tight fitting there, and you should be good. So if you use the adapter, then you can run the flex hose to the machine. And of course, don't forget, it's cold water, and the pressure should be between 35 and 40 psi. If it's under 35, the pump may starve for water, and you may get some grumbling sounds, and you may wear down the pump faster. If it's over 40, you may have too much pressure, which can sometimes affect some of the parts in any espresso machine. We've seen places that have 70, 80 psi, boilers refill or overfill, and then cause leakage, which we want to prevent. So 35 to 40 psi is a good pressure. Now on the Invicta, you may want to go to 30 or 45 because it does use waterline pressure for the pre-infusion, but I don't recommend going under, say, 30 pounds because you don't want the pump starving for water. So once you have that, there is a drain hose that's going to get connected to the bottom of the drip tray in the back. This can be a little difficult, and then there's a clamp that you'll need to put over the hose there. And then also this hose needs to go into your drain. In most cases, pretty much all, it should not be touching the drain. It should be hanging in the air towards the drain. And that drain, typically we want either under the machine on a floor drain or near a sink. And for every foot that it goes horizontal, it needs to drop 1 inch. If you have 2 feet of horizontal, you may get coffee grind buildup here and back up into your drip tray, which is a pain in the butt. So remember, like you want something like this, every 12 inches across, a 1 inch drop. Once you have all that set up, then you have the power cord and the plug. Now, I have seen Rancilio machines come without a plug. I have seen Rancilio machines come with the plug, and sometimes different plugs. Now, for the Invicta series, you do need a 30 amp outlet, And previously, when they did come with plugs, we saw a straight plug for the 220 volt. I'm not a big fan of the 220 straight plug, and the simple reason because it can easily be pulled out in a commercial environment. So, and it's okay to use, but I prefer the twist lock in as many cases as possible. Even if we have customers who may put this machine in their home, get the twist lock plug. And the reason is because once you plug it in and lock it, it's very difficult to pull it out unless you twist it. Okay, that's why it's called the twist lock. And on this one in particular, it's called an L6-30 plug. So you'll want a receptacle, which I believe is L630R, L6-30R, as a receptacle with 30 amp wiring, or wiring for 30 amp, or the 30 blue. Basically, you want the gauge of the wiring for the 30 amp. So make sure that your electrician puts in the proper wiring to code. And we recommend not changing the plug if it's already on the machine, because if you miswire the plug, you can blow out the electronics of an espresso machine. And once you get that all installed with the plug, you'll turn it on and you'll hear the machine filling. If it has not already been tested and drained, you will hear filling. If it's been tested with water and not drained, you'll hear a little bit of filling of water in the boiler. Once you hear that stop, then you'll press the button on each group head to get water through the group heads. And then after that, it's about 30 to 60 minutes of warm-up time, depending on your ambient temperature and also the amount of voltage that's coming through. So if you have 208 volts versus, say, 230 volts versus 240, you can see a 10% difference in warm-up time. Hopefully that's it. Everything's working perfectly. If you have any questions, please let us know, and we can try to assist you with your purchase from First Line Equipment. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Once again, Java Jim with First Line Equipment. Coffee first, everything else second.